idioma hablo? English or Spanish? English. There is no Spanish people around here. Okay, good afternoon. Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to come to this takeout of the Security Council. As you may have seen already, we came here to denounce the military escalation by the US government in the Caribbean region and very, very close to our territorial waters and coasts. And we believe that we are in dangerous times because all this escalation has nothing to do with the apparent excuse for its display. Is mainly directed against Venezuela and is threatening the Venezuelan territorial integrity. And we believe that we are in front of an imminent attack by the United States. All indications tell us that. It's very rational to think that all these preparations and all these escalations are geared towards an attack on Venezuela. And we came to the Security Council to stop the situation. We think that we still have time to tackle the situation and to bring sense into the United States government and use peaceful means, the means that the UN Charter offers, in order to resolve any situation by diplomatic and political means. Otherwise, we are walking towards a catastrophe that may destroy the whole region for generations. We want peace. We have no, that's something important for me to say. There are some people saying here, even some countries saying, we call all parties to de-escalate. So we have no conflict whatsoever with the United States. We are not escalating because we are in no conflicts. This is a fabricated conflict by the United States. And the image that there are two parties warring and trying to confront themselves on the Caribbean Sea is ridiculous. We are only defending our territory within our territory, which is our right. But the proximity of massive military forces towards Venezuela, I think is very dangerous, and it's something that we haven't seen ever since 1902, when European empires blockade our coasts and ports, and was the last military attack on our territory. More than 123 years without something like that. That's why we think it's rational and proper to come here and denounce the situation. I am all yours. I can answer any question you like.
Mr. Ambassador,
No,
there have been reports that the Venezuelan government has offered to extend credits with Chevron and other issues with the United States.
The only thing I can answer about that is that we always have been willing to sell our oil to anybody who pays for it at the right price. But the idea that Venezuelan oil belongs to the US and only American companies can work in Venezuela is ridiculous. We are an open market, an open territory. People come to buy, we sell. No problem whatsoever. But I have seen these rumors and reports that we are almost giving away our oil only to get some promises of pardon or not even peace, that they are not going to attack us if we give away our resources. That's ridiculous. I mean, the only way to get our oil is to pay for it, and we will sell it to anyone. I mean, we are willing to deal with the United States, but on these market terms like any other country. No more than that. There is nothing special. I mean, we are not asking for some kind of protection in swapping protection for oil. That's not what we are trying to do here.
Mr. Ambassador, Mr. Ambassador.
And if so, have you gotten any assurances from countries like Russia or China?
No. The Venezuelan territory is defended by Venezuelans. This is the only forces that act in Venezuela and are the only forces that will act in case of any attack to Venezuela. We rely on our own forces, and we are thankful to anyone who stands in solidarity with us, but we are not relying on anyone else to defend ourselves. We defend ourselves.
Mr. Ambassador, first, what is the Venezuelan government's reaction to the Nobel Peace Prize being awarded to your opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado?
Thank you very much. I don't know my government's reaction, but I'm going to tell you mine. My reaction is that I was really hoping that she will win the Physics Nobel, the Nobel of Physics, because she has the same credentials for the Nobel of Physics that for the Peace Nobel. I mean, I guess that next year maybe she wins the Physics Nobel.
And another question about relations with the United States. Has Venezuela asked for any kind of mediation with the United States to de-escalate the situation?
Of course, we welcome all kind of mediations and mediators, everything that is done by peaceful means to bring down the tempers and with calm and cool heads resolve this matter. We welcome them. And in fact, there are countries who are offering themselves to work in that way. But we welcome them all.
Have you asked any specific people organization to mediate?
Well, we even asked the United Nations to participate in that, but it's one of them. But I mean, some of those countries and authorities who have offered themselves, they rather stay, in a discreet manner instead of on the open, exposing themselves to something that we don't need them to do.
Based on your testimony and the narrative you presented in the Security Council, it seems like you're saying that the U.S. has been targeting your country for many, many years. So why do you think they chose to do this action now during the Trump administration and not before during the Biden administration?
I think we have been under attacks for the last 25 years. Remember that in 2002 there was a coup d'etat against President Chavez. It was directed by the United States. They recognized that themselves. Remember that in 2015 President Obama issued an executive order declaring Venezuela a threat to their national security for no reason. I mean, 10 years later, we haven't seen any evidence that we are a threat to the United States. But under that executive order, which is still in force, they have been working against us. Remember that they created Mr. Juan Guaido, and they created a parallel government, a puppet government that 60 countries, even European countries, recognize as the legitimate president of Venezuela. Remember that they have executed more than 1,000 unilateral coercive measures trying to kill us by hunger and disease. And during the coronavirus pandemic, they made everything possible to stop us from getting vaccines and medicines. I mean, there is what they call a hybrid war going on against us for the last 20 years. But now, I think that as they have failed in all those efforts, they are coming for the hot war. I mean, going for the full invasion or full military attack. And we think that, yes, there are sectors in the United States government that they think that they can do it, but it's better for them to recalibrate their ambitions and see that it's not going to affect only Venezuela, it's going to affect the whole region. And it's going to be a mess. And I think it's better for these hot-headed advisors to put in perspective what they are actually doing. As I told you, for more than 200 years, we have had no wars. But that means that we are ready to defend our country against anyone who dares to attack us.
How do you think that this attack will unfold? Inside the council, you did not receive...
Let me just answer that. How do I think that this attack
will unfold?
No, I have no idea. I mean, they are the ones perpetrating the crime. And I just can guess, and that's a matter for preparations. It's not for me. I am not the military commander of Venezuela. But based on the experience of how they have behaved against other countries, we have more or less an idea that what they are trying to do. But I think it's going to be a catastrophe. I mean, it's so outrageous, out of any kind of parameters, nothing to do with the region and our history of the history of the last invasion, the United States invasion, by the way, was the Panama invasion. Before that was the Grenada invasion, 1983. And I can go back until the 19th century. But we thought that we had overcome those times and we had in a new era. But we're going back to the naked Monroe Doctrine and corollary Roosevelt of the Monroe Doctrine, where they declare themselves international policemen. And I think that's wrong even for the United States. I am absolutely sure, because I live here, working here, that the people of the United States are not part of this scheme. They do not want another war, and even less against Venezuela. And based on this fact that it's a war against the opinion of the American people, we believe that there will be growing voices asking for another way to resolve this matter.
Mr. Ambassador, inside the chamber, you got clear support only from a few members of the Council. So how disappointed are you that your call for support was not heard?
Surprisingly, I am happy to hear that it was just not the usual suspects. Russia, China, Algeria, which are our very good friends. But more than that, there were at least 3 or 4 more other countries that they went not for Venezuela, they went for international law. Because it's outrageous to support the killing of civilians in high seas of international waters without any evidence. There are extrajudicial killings. I mean, the United States are bound to international law because they are a civilized country. It's not possible that a new government comes on and says, I'm going to get rid of any international law tie because I have the power to do so. All the supreme might of the United States Army is only respected around the world if it works within a lawful framework. Out of that is tyranny. It's a tyranny against the whole world.
Ambassador, do you believe that the U.S. attack against Venezuela is imminent?
We believe that they are preparing themselves. I mean, you cannot sustain this kind of mobilization and display for 2 years. They have to act shortly. That's the logic, the military logic. There are costs, there are plans, and there are opportunities, and that's why I'm coming here, because we believe that they are thinking something to do in this very same year. I don't know exactly when, but I'm not a magician, or I don't have the power to or divination, but it's obvious that they are trying to do something. Yesterday they were in Trinidad with a very, very, very heavy equipment, airplanes, helicopters, ships, military ships, etc. And Trinidad is just 12 kilometers from Venezuela, imagine that. So what they are doing that for is not something distant in time. I think it's very close. They are coming closer and closer and closer. And the excuse is ridiculous, nothing to do with drugs. We know it's nothing to do with drugs. They are coming for an invasion. They are trying to take away our country and turn us into a colony.
Ambassador, you cited the Charter several times during your address in the Security Council. What exactly do you think that the UN can do to stop this?
Well, there are forces.
Doesn't that embolden the U.S. to attack you?
The Secretary of State said that he doesn't give a damn about the UN, doesn't give a damn about the Charter. The Vice President said even something worse. I'm not going to repeat it. But the idea is that we know that the rest of the country is not like that. And we know that in Congress, in the media, on the streets, people are not pushing for war. We know that. So we believe that that can counterbalance the wrong-headed people, and rationality may win this time. But it's uncertain, the result, the outcome is still uncertain. We are fighting diplomatically to convince people we do not want war. Endless wars are not good for anyone. That's our message. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.